Hey everybody, this is Saturday afternoon. Oh, it's almost evening here. It's about 5 o'clock, Southern Indiana, and I wanted to jump on here and do kind of an impromptu, you know, uh, business as usual, but not. We're all in this crisis mode, and there's so many distractions. There's just so many things going on. I mean, I seems like everybody's posting something about the virus. What can we do? What should we be focusing on? And as they say, business has to keep moving forward. And I just listened to a podcast. It was really interesting because you have two camps of people. Some people are thinking, oh, it's wrong to be selling our services and our businesses. And then other people are saying, well, this is the time that people really need online support. They need help. It's a great market. So regardless of which camp you fall into, I just wanted to talk a little bit on how can we stay focused, and not just in a crisis mode, but just especially for entrepreneurs as they're trying to grow their business. And what I'm finding is right now we're in this situation where everything is changing. All of a sudden, maybe some of the infrastructure and the systems that we have in place aren't working for us. Here in the United States, I'm in Southern Indiana. Everybody's pretty much on lockdown, which I think that's great. Let's just stay inside, keep the virus, and stop spreading it, I guess. But when we're out of the routine and that structure is gone, then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not getting any work done. So I just wanted to talk about some productivity tips, really, on how we can stay focused right now and just our day-to-day business. So I first wanted to talk about some symptoms. Sometimes we think that we're getting a lot of stuff done, and then we realize we're really not focusing on the things that's important. So some symptoms that I was thinking of is, one, do you feel like that you're never completing anything? Are you never getting to the finish line? And of course, as entrepreneurs, we're always adding to our to-do list, but that might be a symptom if we never seem to accomplish anything. And another symptom that we're losing our focus is we seem to be jumping from one thing to another. We start one project, and then we jump to something else, and then something else. And then the last symptom I was thinking about was, do we end up spending all of our time on all of these non-essential tasks? So you know what you need to be doing to get your business moving forward. And then at the end of the day, you've worked really hard, but you look and you realize you've spent all of your time on these non-essential tasks. So those are symptoms. So what's the real issue behind these symptoms? So a lot of times people say, I'm just so, I just have so much to do and I can't, I just can't stay focused. But what's the real issue? So sometimes the real issue is there's no clear-cut goals. And I'm going to talk about the real issue here in a minute. But when you don't have those clear-cut goals, then it is hard to stay focused and to keep moving to the end zone or the finish line. And then I think another huge issue is fear of missing out, this FOMO. If we hunker down and really start working on a certain project, or maybe things that we know we have to do, then in the back of our mind we're thinking, but maybe I'm missing something really important. What are other people doing? Oh, somebody else has implemented a new strategy. Maybe I need to jump on board about that. So that can be a real issue for us. And then a third issue really is not being convinced inside that what we're working on is really worth the effort. And again, I'm going to talk about all of these things, but that's what I see. 3, we have these symptoms, but if we dig underneath it, what are the real issues there? So let's kind of dig in on the solution for those things. So the issue of no clear goals. So let's just talk about that a little bit. So no clear goals. We all talk about, we have to set goals. And I heard a great quote the other day. Somebody was talking about only setting 90-day goals because she would forget. She would set the 1 year, 5 year, 10-year goals, and then she would just forget about it. And I thought, that is so true. And really, you hear the word sprint. We're going to do a sprint. What can you accomplish over the next 90 days? 90 days is doable. It's short enough that we can stay focused on it, but not so long that it seems unattainable for us. And just like any goal, they always talk about, you have to set SMART goals. What does that mean? The bottom line is it needs to be measurable. So when you set a goal, one, how can you determine when you get to the finish line? So, one example might be, well, I want to be more proactive with my social media marketing. Well, you can't really measure that because it's not specific enough. But if you set goal posts so that you can actually measure, well, what does that look like? I want to increase my social media presence by posting once a day and engaging in 10 Facebook groups. So that's something that you can measure. And then as you go through the next 90 days, you've got a benchmark. This is where I'm starting and this is where I end up with. And then for these goals, basically what you need to do is reverse engineer. So go to the end point. What's that perfect picture look like? And then reverse engineer it. So if it's social media, for instance, maybe you want to increase the level of your engagement. Maybe you want to increase, how many people you're getting into your Facebook group, whatever it is. So what does that perfect end goal look like? So let's just say within the next 90 days, I want to increase my Facebook membership by 200 people. I'm just picking random things here. So if that's the end goal, it's very measurable. Then when you reverse engineer it, how are you going to get to that point? So does that mean that you're going to be, one, posting every day, engaging in so many other groups? So you have to take it back to the very beginning. If you're going to post every day, what does that mean? Are you going to come up with a content strategy so you know what you're posting? Are you going to come up with different templates that you can use? You want to be able to create something that it's productive, that you can streamline the effort, because we don't want to create a goal that's so big that it's unattainable. Another goal, we all do this with our exercise and our diet. I'm going to go to the gym every day. Well, that's every day is measurable, but maybe it's not the best goal. So what is your end goal? If your end goal is maybe to build some nice arm muscles, for instance, then you need to reverse engineer that. So maybe it means that, you have to find a gym or find a coach or look up exercises just for that specific muscle area that you're working on, and then create the plan. What are you going to do to get to that point? And then probably the last thing, as you build this strategy of accomplishing these goals, or this end goal here, is you have to break it down into bite-sized chunks. So a good analogy that I like to use, let's say that you're going to do a kitchen remodel. That's a huge project, so you have to kind of reverse engineer it. So what would be the first step? The first step might be get recommendations from other people that have had their kitchen remodeled. And then the next step after that might be reach out to 3 contractors and schedule appointments to talk with them. The next step might be deciding which contractor. So you have to take it down to those bite-sized next step goal or next step activities or tasks that you're going to do, and then go from there. So part of what ties into having these have the big picture and then break it down in my productivity group that I'm running right now, we talk about planning your perfect week. So the first thing you have to do, you have to have kind of this big picture. What are you trying to accomplish over the next 90 days? And then in order to really be focused and accomplish things for your week, you have to plan your perfect week. So we do that by mapping out, okay, what do I want to accomplish this week? And I recommend just 3 big things. So not big in the sense that it's going to take you 80 hours to accomplish it, but again, you're focused on your goals, and okay, to reach this next milestone, I need to accomplish these 3 major things for this week, not for the month, just for this week. And then what that does is it keeps you focused. So every time you're going to branch out and think, oh, maybe I'll sign on to this course or something, you think, wait a minute, is this moving me towards those actionable items that I need to accomplish for this week? And if it doesn't, then it's like you put the blinders on. It's like, nope, I'm only going to stay focused on this. So again, that takes us back to once you identify those clear goals and you have those tasks identified, you've reversed engineered, it's easy to stay focused on it. Now, the second issue or strategy is this fear of missing out. So again, we all fall for that because we're all looking for ways to be more productive. We're looking for the next big thing. We're just trying to make our life easier, and we're humans. We love learning, especially if we're in the entrepreneur world here. And there's just all these beautiful, shiny objects out there, right? So how can we, again, put the blinders on so that we're not constantly being sidetracked left and right here? So one suggestion I have is make a commitment with yourself. Just try it for 1 week that you're not going to sign up for anything new. You're not going to get that freebie. You're not going to listen to anything new. You're not going to watch anything new. Now, I can't exercise unless I'm watching YouTube. So I have a lot of productivity people that I like to follow. I have a lot of crafty, because I'm into arts and crafts, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that you can't watch any of these things, but you're not going to introduce any new stuff on your plate. I do love to listen to, like Amy Porterfield and stuff. Absolutely love her podcast. One caution, though, is I'm listening to all of these great ideas and I just want to implement them. So the goal is you're not implementing anything new. You're not signing up for anything new. You're not grabbing that new freebie, because guess what? It's all going to be out there waiting for you. But right now, your goal is to stay focused. What are you going to accomplish for this week? Grabbing that new little freebie isn't going to help you. And so again, just make a commitment. Make a commitment that you're not going to grab anything new. Just try it for a week and see if it helps you not to have this fear of missing out. And another expression that I love is you hear people say, stay in your lane, stay in your own lane. When I was a kid, I used to swim. We had a small little, swim team or something in town. And, we'd go to other schools and we'd have our competition and stuff. Well, when you swim, you do have those lines and the little, whatever they call those floaty things, that keeps you in your lane, because what would happen if you didn't have that? I mean, the swimmers would be all over the place. And so what's nice about that is you don't have to worry about getting into somebody else's area. You have those little buoys, I think that's what they're called, and all you have to focus on is just swimming. And it's a relief. It really is. So in your business strategy, stay in your own lane. Again, we're all I guess, comparing ourselves with other people, and we think, oh, that's such a great idea. Maybe I could implement that. Or, oh, look at them. I wish I could do it that way. But if we put our blinders on and we stay in our own lane and just move forward in our own lane, and again, going back to those goals that we're working towards, it just keeps us from getting off course and getting so sidetracked. So don't look at anybody else. Everybody has an audience. So you and I could be teaching the very same information, but we have a different audience. Everybody kind of relates to somebody else, so we don't need to worry about what everybody else is doing. All we can do is just focus on ourselves. And then, so going back to those issues, so the first one was no clear goals. The second one is this fear of missing out. But again, we put our blinders on. We don't even have to worry about that. And then the third issue is deep down inside, are we really convinced what we're doing is worth the effort? So whatever it is we're working on, are we convinced it's really worth the effort? Now, I love to make reference to, and I always have to say this, I'm not a sports person, so it's kind of funny, people who know me, that I even make reference to this, but I absolutely love the story of John Wooden. He was a legendary basketball coach, and he had an incredible record. He won 10 national championships within 12 years. Absolutely incredible. What's interesting about what he did as a coach for his team, every single season, he started from the bare basics and he taught his team how to tie their shoes. Now that might seem incredible. And could you imagine if you're, you think you're this great basketball star and, you go on to his team and all of a sudden he's teaching people how to tie their shoes? You might even feel offended. It's like, wait a minute. Who is he? I don't need this. What's interesting, though, is the reason he did that, he discovered that if his players tied their shoes a certain way, never came untied, didn't cause blisters, didn't cause people tripping on their shoelaces and falling and hurting themselves, all that kind of stuff. Even though it seemed very basic and everybody knew how to tie their shoes, there was a certain way to do it to make sure that it was in place and they never had to worry about it. And again, they resisted at first, but when they saw the end result, how it helped them, then it made all the difference in the world, and then they were on board with it. So they were like, oh, this makes sense. So yes, I'm going to spend the time, learn how to properly tie my shoes so I don't have that issue. So going back to the things that you're doing in your business, in I call it my PPE program, that's my productivity program for entrepreneurs, we go back to the basics, like creating a file folder structure. We define a naming scheme for how you will name every single file in your business. You decide in advance where you're going to save certain types of files. And initially, when you're going through some of these homework assignments, you might be thinking, why am I doing this? I should be working on something that's really important. But what you realize when you get through that module is all of a sudden, you don't have that issue of losing your files. You knew you created, have you ever felt that, been in that situation? You created something and then you can't find it. You spend a half hour searching for that file. Well, when you implement this system, all of a sudden, what a relief. You know exactly where things are saved, what to name them. So any new file, you don't even have to think about what to name them because you've already come up with a naming structure. And also, it's less decision fatigue. They say that we can only make so many decisions a day. And as the CEO of your business, isn't it nice just to eliminate some of these decisions? So basically, what I'm saying is sometimes we have to look at the big picture, but then look at the gains we're going to have. So when we're working on something, to realize, okay, it's just like maybe cleaning your closet or whatever. Initially, it's like, oh, this seems kind of like drudgery, but the end result is worth it. So why am I saying all of this? Going back to the issue of when we're doing something and we can't stay focused, maybe deep down inside, the reason we can't stay focused is we're questioning ourselves. Is this really worth it? Do I really need to be spending all this extra time on social media, or is it worth it? Whatever it is. So we have to go back to the why of what is it about this project or this task that we're doing. And I mean, we might find out that, you know what, this isn't worth it. Why am I spending my time doing this? And if it's not worth it to that end goal that you're trying to get to, then get rid of it. Stop doing it. Free up your time and do something else. So again, to recap, sometimes the reason we can't stay focused is we don't have a clear goal of what we're really trying to accomplish, and that fear of missing out and some remedies for that. Put those blinders on. Don't worry. All of those freebies will be there. And then the last issue is, if we're not really convinced, then we need to look at the big picture. What are these activities going to take, or, what's the end result? And if it is in line with what you're trying to work towards, then it is worth the effort. So I hope that helped. And before I jump off, what I want to do is just share something that I'm working on, and maybe that will help you. So I'm going to share my screen here. And I just want to show you a couple things here. And this is just a quick little worksheet that I put together. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Well, let me zoom it out first and then just talk about it. So if anybody wants it, you're welcome to it. You could do the same thing yourself. I saw this little grid and I thought, oh, this is an excellent way to demonstrate when you're designing your project, so to speak. So, and I color coded them in the sense of, you might have short-term projects and long-term projects. And I'm going to talk about some of the projects that I'm working on here in just a minute. And then of those projects, you're either just starting or you're getting close to the finish line. And so this little worksheet, I thought, okay, and again, hey, I'm the first one. I could have 20 projects, but realistically, pick 3 of my short-term projects and maybe 3 long-term projects, and then just plot them out here. So, where am I on those short-term projects? Am I just starting out? Am I getting close to the finish line? The same thing with your long-term projects. And what this will do for you is, if you find that, you've got a whole bunch of stuff that you're just starting, and you don't have anything that you're getting close to the finish line, then what that is telling is you need to back off. You need to take some of these things and drag them off the game board. I'm in Canva here. I think I can, maybe not. I don't want to mess this up for you. But, so in other words, maybe you need to drag it off the game board. Likewise, are you off-centered as far as how many short-term and long-term? So are you filling your plate up with all of these long-term projects that, they're not going to get done for 90 to 180 days, and you don't have any wins? You don't have any wins getting close to the finish line, then again, you might want to back off some of the long-term projects and just focus on 1 or 2. And then you might have a short-term project that you could kind of nudge along and get closer to the finish line. And then, we have to have those wins under our belt to keep us motivated. The other thing that I wanted to show you is, I just want to share with you what I'm working on, so you can kind of see a big picture. So, and I will zoom in a little bit on this. So I have my Systems to Scale Facebook group. And some things that I'm actually working on is I am going to be creating what I call a VIP Facebook group, and there will be a fee to it. That Facebook group is going to take very specific training that I will still be offering in the Systems to Scale, but I'm going to take it up a notch. I'm going to have more detailed training. I'm going to have worksheets, things like that. So this is actually a short-term project for me because it's not going to take much for me to implement it. Another project, and this is, I'm going to call it short-term because I've already got it running in beta, my productivity program for entrepreneurs. It's a 6-week program. I've got my first group almost finishing the beta of that. And then from there, it's not going to take long to actually roll it out as a product. So I'm going to make that as a short term. And then, and this I guess could be, I could consider it short term. I haven't been doing any marketing on it, so it's kind of short term / long term. And I'm calling it my Accelerate, Automate, and Action half day. And this is going to be strategically one-on-one coaching, but with a very laser focused half day, up and running, whatever kinds of things that people need in their business, that they need to get it automated, they need to get it accelerated so that they can actually get some of this stuff done. And this is all dealing with the systems, accountability, and automation back end that I can help people build. So this, I just need to build some of the back end pieces so that I can start marketing it. And then this last thing falls into my long-term plan that I'm working on, or long-term project. And this is what I call my CEO Master Academy. It's going to be a 90-day program. It's going to be accountability and group coaching, very specific agenda or modules that's actually going to help you build your business A to Z. So regardless of where you are at in your business journey right now, this CEO Master Academy is going to help you put all of the foundation pieces, get those automation pieces, get the landing pages, the email sequences, the whole 9 yards in place. This I haven't started. I've mapped out the content, but I haven't started anything. So that would be one of my long term. So again, looking at this, you can see I'm not trying to focus on, saving the world here. Just a few of my high focus things that I'm working on. So every week as I work on these activities, then I'll know exactly what things to focus on. So I hope that helps, just to give you a little idea again of what I'm working on. So again, it's stressful times for all of us, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. We don't know what's going to be happening, but I just wanted to reach out to you and encourage you, again, implement some of these ideas, create the strategies, map out what your 90-day goals are as far as what you're working on with your business, and, jump into the group with comments or struggles, things that you're working on, and let's stay focused. So let me know in the comments below if you like this. Give me a thumbs up at least, or a little heart, and let me know your questions, and I'll see you in the next session.